Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the Scabbard, another hockey night in Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo. We are ready for the Sabres to hopefully take the next step tonight. Started out slow this season, 0-2. Then we alternated wins and losses. And finally, we have a winning streak, 2-game winning streak. Um, Excited. I'm not going to declare that the Sabres are healthy, and because what we saw on Wednesday night is far from healthy. It was it's good to win a bad game. Um, let's talk about the stats of the night from the game that was on Wednesday night. Nationally televised game, so it was good that they got the win. And tonight's game is also nationally televised. It's going to be on the NHL Network. I'm not sure which feed they're going to show, whether it's going to be the Philadelphia, which a lot of times they do. If it's a Philadelphia game, whether it's home or road, they'll put the Philadelphia feed on, which is awful. Um, right, I'm just not a fan of the Philadelphia feed. I don't care if somebody scores for a case of tasty cakes. I Hopefully it's the MSG feed so I can get Dan and Razor um, for the game because I don't live in the Buffalo area, so I won't be able to watch MSG and check out the game. But let's talk about the stat of the night or stat of the day. Uh, 9 shots on goal over the final 50 minutes of the game. That's not good. I mean, we were lucky that 3 got scored. Of course, the empty netter as well, or the empty netter included in that. Um, that game could have gone so much worse. Philadelphia is a team that we should be beating on the regular. Um, and for the first 10 minutes of that game, it looked amazing. Like the speed through the neutral zone, the way the guys were going to the net, the creativity they were showing. Um, that opening 10 minutes where they scored 3 goals. One of them was taken off. The Paterka goal was taken off. Um, but then they come back and immediately, and Brendan Bauer gets his first goal as a National Hockey Leaguer. Congrats to him. Um, Carter Hart gets injured, and after that Biro goal at the 10-minute mark, Hart's pulled, and Samuel Harrison, the backup, comes in. I said, usually when we talk about these games, I'm like, I hope to see the backup. Not that way. I thought if Carter Hart stayed in the game longer, we might have scored more goals. But we stopped shooting. Torts took the Flyers on the bench while Hart was coming off the game, and Harrison was getting warmed up and read them the riot act as Torts will do. And after that, the Flyers amped up the physical play. And really, for the rest of that game, the Sabres almost looked scared at times. Um, they didn't really get too much central, driving down the center of the ice. They went to the boards and if you do that, you're playing into a team like Philadelphia's hands. They're physical. They want to get you on the boards. They want to wear you down. The Sabres showed success when they were in the middle of the ice, creating passes, creating lanes, and getting goals. Even as they really shut down the number of shots, all their goals came from the center part of the ice in the slot, close in shots. Um, by allowing Philadelphia to kind of dictate for the final 50 minutes of the game, it was a rough watch. We were lucky to come out with 2 points. We had no sustained pressure during that entire 50-minute stretch. Even the goals that we scored were off the rush and weren't like a setup play. Our power play looked kind of inept. The few chances that we had, um, and we were lucky that Harrison was below average. I mean, he allowed 2 goals on 9 shots, and with one of those being an empty netter, so that didn't count against him. Uh, he's going to start tonight. We'll get into the lineups here in a minute. Got to get to him. He's shaky. You got to get more than 9 shots on him in a 50-minute stretch. If you're going to hope to replicate the success that you had in the game one of this home and home series with the Flyers. The Sabres do have pretty good luck in home series against the Flyers. I think the last 3 that they've had, they've swept them. So hopefully we can keep that trend going. They got the first one, important one. You're at home. You were on the red and black jerseys. I'm wearing my butter knife jersey, but from that era. And yeah, so Philadelphia is the only team to take 2 points off of the Sabres in regulation while they were wearing the red and black, last January. Really handled the Sabres. It was like a 4-0 game. Sabres didn't look right that night at all, uh, opposed to how they looked in almost every other game when they played, wore the, red and black sweaters. So, um 2nd home game in a row that they've worn the red and black. They wore them against Colorado, got the win there. Um, Again, if they win tonight, we're it's gonna continue the conversation of should the Sabres go to continuous red and black, at least at home. They're doing well on the road. So, but I know NHL rules about uniforms and things like that really, preclude us from just doing the complete switch. You have to give the manufacturers a certain amount of time to come up to speed with the jerseys, and I think we have a commitment of how much we can wear the jerseys at home that you have to set before the season. So our opponents tonight, of course, are the Philadelphia Flyers. We played them last time. I think this is the first time this season we're playing a team with a worse record than us. So this is a chance for us to take advantage of a team that is not doing well. They're 4-5-1 on the season. We're 5-5-0. Cooled off after a hot start. They've lost 5 of their last 6, of which we were one of those losses. How will the injury to Carter Hart impact the club? Not just tonight, but going on. How long is Carter Hart going to be out for? I haven't heard any firm details about his injury. Just that it was a mid-body injury. They're saying that he might be okay in a few days, so it might be a day-to-day injury. If that's the case, then Carter Hart has been playing much better than I think he came into the league with all the expectations in the world, kinda like, Devin Levi, having a ton of expectations, played really well his first season, and has struggled a lot since then. So, you know, has had a semi-decent season this year. Didn't look good in the game, until he got pulled, with the injury last game. So, maybe a little time off is what he needs. I think Torts would ride Carter Hart as many times in a season as he could. I don't know that he'll have a whole lot of trust in Harrison. Harrison has not played well for the Philadelphia Flyers. He looked poor against the Anaheim Ducks, um, allowing 2 goals on 9 shots when his team absolutely outplayed the Sabres over the last 50 minutes of the last game. Will not bode well for having trust from John Tortorella, who is famously really horrid towards goaltenders. So um, we'll see how that storyline develops. The Flyers' projected lines for per the Daily Face-Off. We've got Travis Konechny, Morgan Frost, and Mr. Forrester on the first line. That's a promotion for Forrester. He moves up from that line, and I think most of this first line is brand new. Joel Farabee, Noah Cates, and Bobby Brink on that second line. Owen Tippett, Scott Lawton, and Cam Atkinson. Some of those guys have been demoted from that first line, and then the fourth line. Lawton was actually brought up from the fourth line. Nick Delorier, Ryan Paling is drawing into the lineup to replace Sean Couturier and Garnet Hathaway on that fourth line. I thought that fourth line was excellent in that game. Really lit a fire under the rest of the team and got them going when it did come to 2-1. And uh, had Philadelphia had some scoring ability in that game, they could have blown the doors off the Sabres. The Flyers projected defensive pairings Travis Sanheim and Cam York on the first pair. That remains the same. Um, we've got actually this is different. I guess I didn't save the changes, but Zamula is actually on the third pairing with Belpedia. while Sealer moves up to that second pairing to play with Walker. Our goaltenders tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers, Samuel Harrison and former Sabre Cal Peterson. So Cal Peterson, Sabres draft pick, never signed with the Sabres. Went on to sign a free agent contract with the Los Angeles Kings. Spent a few years there. Was never able to wrestle away the starting gig from Jonathan Quick, and has kind of bounced around a little bit. So Cal Peterson, Flyers backup goalie, third string goalie, really at this point. So we'll see how long he sticks around, and if we see him tonight, and we'll yell former Saber alert because that's a former Saber, technically Saber draft pick. But that doesn't stop those former Sabres from scoring on us. Uh, what's his face in Tampa? Brandon Hagel never signed with Buffalo. Buffalo draft pick scores on us every time. Um, Now I don't think Cal would score on us, but it might happen. Now Nick Delorier, they played really well the other night, and I wouldn't be surprised to see old Slick Nick pop a goal if we're not playing well. Flyer scratches tonight. It's getting longer, the list there. We talked about Ellis, Ristolainen, and Mark Stahl last game. Add to that Carter Hart with his mid-body injury, possibly day-to-day, and Sean Couturier is also day-to-day with an injury, so he's out of the lineup. That makes the task a little bit harder for the Philadelphia Flyers. Let's go to the Buffalo Sabres. A little bit of difference here. We are talking about a new rookie in the lineup. He still counts as a rookie. It's his third NHL game, but Lucas Rusek is back with the team. First line is Jordan Greenway, Tage Thompson, and Brandon Byro. Byro got 2 goals on last in the last game, so he stays up. Jeff Skinner, Casey Middlestat, JJ Peterka. The line looks really good. Peterka had the goal called back. Middlestat had a goal. Skinner had assists. Um, Lucas Rusek drawing into the third line in place of Victor Olofsson. Well, Tyson Jost. Jost played on Wednesday night, but Olofsson's out. Jost is out. Cousins, Tuck on that third line. And fourth line is our usuals: Gergensons, Krebs, and Okposo. Um, yeah, uh, be interested to see how Lucas Rusek does in his third game in the NHL. I thought he played well in his 2 games. I mean, of course, the first game he got the goal early to get the Sabres going, and I thought his last game he looked well as well. So our defense pairings are going to change a little bit because our third pairing defenseman Connor Clifton has returned from suspension. So it's good news there. We get a little health, well, not healthier, but get a horse back on defense. Uh, may take some of the load off the top 2 lines, although and I will say that the first pairing did not look really good on Tuesday or on Wednesday night. I thought Samuelson did not look physical, which is odd. Darlene was okay, but Owen Power and Yoki Haru did all right. Johnson did okay with Bryson. Um, Bryson did get beat on the second goal, and I would fault him for that, not staying with his check. But yeah, the defense is getting stronger tonight with getting Clifton back, and hopefully a couple of games off and a couple games in the press box, allowing him to see what's going on the ice will be a benefit to him, and hopefully he doesn't take any dumb penalties because that would suck. Our goaltenders tonight, same as Wednesday night. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is getting the start. Why wouldn't you start him? He is playing really well right now, and so he'll get the game tonight. We play tomorrow against the hated Toronto Maple Leafs. So it looks like Devin Levi will get to draw back into the lineup, backstopping us against the Leafs. So Luukkonen tonight, Levi probably tomorrow. Um, Let's see the scratches: Victor Olofsson, healthy scratch; Eric Comrie, IR; Tyson Jost, healthy scratch. Jack Quinn, of course, long-term IR, and, Benson is on IR. Um, it does get to feel like they're trying to manipulate the roster rules a little bit with Zach Benson and Matt Savoy. Um, I think when you see Matt Savoy called up to the Sabres, you'll see Zach Benson sent down for a conditioning assignment because he's listed as injured. And I'm not doubting that he was dinged up. You're a National Hockey League player. You're going to get dinged up in those games. So you can make the case that he was injured. He comes back, but he goes down for a conditioning assignment, even though he's too young to play in the AHL full time. Um, and then he's still got a couple games left before he hits his 9. So we'll see how Matt Savoy does when he comes up to the Sabres, and we'll see how Benson does when he comes back up, and maybe we'll get to see a couple of games where they play together. Um, I still think at some point, uh, I don't know. I think at some point you're gonna have to make a trade if you want to keep these guys. You're gonna have to get Olofsson somewhere, um, and probably another forward or two off the roster to make room for these guys. But there are other guys in Rochester that are knocking on the door that I think it's hard to say, send Savoy back and send Benson back. Benson, you can make a more of a case because he's played well, but not he slowed down definitely over the last few games, and maybe it was because of injury. But it's not a shame to send an 18-year-old back down to the juniors, especially when that was drafted like 13th. Um, let him season some more. He's got the taste. He's gonna go back, and he's gonna be just a ridiculously dominant player at the Western Hockey League level. Savoy's a little bit harder case. I wish there was something like, with Canadian hockey, the Canadian Hockey League's juniors, they've got something called the exceptional player status, where it allows a player that is younger than their normal age. So, I think it's 16 years old is the minimum age they can bring somebody in at 15 to play in the Canadian junior hockey leagues. But they have to get approved. I don't know sending Savoy back to the Canadian Hockey League will be beneficial for his long-term development. He's already shown that he can dominate there. Um, but I think he needs to, it would be better to have him make that case at the NHL level. Um, But I don't know. I think at some point we let them play the World Juniors, and we let them do that, kinda higher level competition, and then maybe let them play the rest of the season in Wenatchee, Washington, for the Wenatchee Wild of the Western Hockey League. But, yeah, that's our rookie situation. Again, we've got guys in Rochester, I think, that deserve a call up. You've got your Byro on the team. He probably would have made the team if we didn't carry 3 goaltenders in the season. Although carrying 3 goaltenders into the season looks a lot better now. I'll tell you that right now. Um, but yeah, so Byro goes down, clears waivers. That would have been a disaster. We lost him to waivers. Um, then you bring up Lucas Rusek, who's had a cup of coffee in the NHL already, and now will draw in. And I think he's gonna be one of these guys that you want on that fourth or third or fourth line. He's gonna do third line tonight with Cousins and Tuck. Uh, but I think eventually he's gonna be the captain of the hard forecheck line for the Sabres moving forward. Let's see. Oh, talked about our scratches. Tonight's odds brought to you by DraftKings. Uh, Gamble responsibly, of course. Same as the other night, which makes sense. They're the same two teams are playing. Although it's in Buffalo versus Philadelphia, but Buffalo is giving away a goal and a half on the odds, and the over under is 6.5. They didn't hit the over under in the last game, or wait a minute, did they? No, it's 5-2. Yeah, so they did hit the over. barely, but they hit the over in the last game, and the Sabres won by 3. So they hit the if you bet Buffalo and bet the over in the last game, you did well. But gamble responsibly. I don't gamble because I suck at it. So take that for what you will. Player profile: Lucas Rusek. Uh, Newest Sabre on the roster. He's played 2 games with the Sabres, has a couple points, a goal in his first game against Montreal last season. Um, Draws into the lineup. A hardcore forecheck, has done really well. In fact, let me bring up the Amerks stats. Why do they make it so hard to find the dang stats there? All right, here we go. So last season, um, Lucas Rusek led the team with 56 points in 70 games. Although Brandon Byro had a better point per game run at 51 points in 49 games, but still good season for a guy that, I'm not counting on Lucas Rusek to pot 35 goals. I'm looking for a hard forecheck or defensively responsible, um, and then chip in where he can. So 56 points in 70 games at the AHL level is good. A couple points at the NHL level is good as well. Um, we'll see what he brings. Mr. Rusek was a 6th round draft pick of the Buffalo Sabres in 2019. He is from Ostrov nad Hori of in Czechia, and 1990 wow 1999 birth date. I'm not even going to think about how old I was in 1999, but I saw my first Buffalo Sabres game in 1999, which is, awesome. Um, but yeah, Mr. Rusek has earned his spot. Um, I think with a crowded forward and not dealing with a crowded forward core, and we're not dealing Olafson, the Quinn situation. It's hard to find places for some of these rookies right now, and letting them season in Rochester is a great thing, but eventually they're going to kind of top out at the Rochester level. But I mean, we may end up being like the those powerhouse Detroit teams where not only is the big club doing really well and have tons of talent, but our uh, AHL affiliate has tons of talent and players waiting to make a move. I think that just makes the entire organization better by having everyone compete. But Lucas Rusek, if you notice, there's a couple little dashes and things on his name. I think it's Lukasz Rusek. The way that you say the S with the little devil horns on it, which is how Miroslav Shatan had his. That's how the S in his name actually looked in Slovakian. So keys to the game tonight: don't shrink from physical play. Once the Flyers crank up the physical play, because Torts is gonna not gonna let them give the Sabres a night off. You can't shrink from it. Don't go to the boards. Keep the puck in the middle of the ice. Um, Because if you're playing primarily on the boards, you are going to have a bad time. You're going to have a guy on top of you the entire time, and it's going to be much more effort to actually move the puck towards the net. So don't shrink from the physical play. Keep the puck in the middle of the net. Keep Harrison shaky. He was shaky. You let in 2 goals against the run of play, and really on shots. It wasn't like a rebound. It wasn't, a scramble or anything. These were just shots off the run of play, and you've got to be shaky. He was shaky against the Anaheim Ducks, so keep him shaky. Keep keep firing pucks at him, which is the third part. Shots. Uh, just pepper this dude. And yeah, quality shots is a thing, and making sure they're not blocked and all that good stuff. But gotta have more than 9 shots over the last 50 minutes of the game. Gotta have more than uh, 15 shots for the entire game. That's just that's a recipe for disaster. You may get away with it once or twice a season, but you've got to be able to force the issue when it comes to offense, and especially with the talent that's on this team. Don't if you can keep the puck in the middle of the ice, create passing lanes, and get the Flyers defense moving. There's no reason we shouldn't be winning this game and taking a 3-game winning streak in Toronto tomorrow night. So anyway, that's the show tonight. We will be on tomorrow night at 6 o'clock again as we take on the hated Leafs. We go up to QEW to play the Leafs in their sold out Coliseum full of business executives, um, and hopefully drop it, take a couple of points away from them. If we win tonight, we actually jump over a couple teams. So um, we're we moved up to 6th in the division last game after winning. Florida won, so we're back down in 7th in the division. But if we move up, we actually move up to 5th and tied with the 3rd and 4th place teams in the division to Toronto and Montreal on points. So um, things are looking better. But again, can't have a stinker game like they had last time out, and if they can't learn that lesson, they're going to pay with it. Pay with a loss tonight. So, all right, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate wherever you're watching us from on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, anywhere. Give us a thumbs up, a heart, a like, a subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. Smash that like button. It helps the algorithms, gets it in front of more people, and allows more people to watch the show. So, and of course, as it says on the bottom, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I respond to questions on the air. So, anyway, check out MSG. The pregame show is about to go live. If you're a schlub like me outside of the Buffalo area, NHL Network will have coverage of the game, and we'll talk to you all tomorrow at 6 p.m. for the next episode of the Scabbard. So have a great evening, everybody, and we'll go. Let's go Buffalo.